Snow White and the Kindness of Heart. In a land of rolling hills and majestic castles, there lived a beautiful princess named Snow White. With skin as fair as snow, lips as red as roses, and hair as black as ebony, she was a sight to behold. Yet, her beauty wasn't what made her truly special. It was her kind heart and gentle nature that endeared her to all who knew her. Snow White's mother, the queen, had passed away when she was just a baby, leaving her in the care of her father, the king. Though he loved his daughter dearly, the king felt that Snow White needed a motherly figure in her life. So, he married a woman he believed to be kind and loving. However, the new queen was anything but kind. Jealous of Snow White's beauty and fearing that one day the princess would surpass her in loveliness, the wicked queen plotted to get rid of Snow White. She ordered the royal huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and leave her there, never to return. The huntsman, though loyal to the queen, couldn't bear to harm the innocent princess. Instead, he warned Snow White of the queen's treacherous plans and urged her to flee into the woods. Snow White, frightened but determined, ventured deep into the forest, finding solace among the woodland creatures. As days turned into weeks, Snow White's kindness and gentle nature shone brightly. She shared her food with the animals, sang sweet melodies that echoed through the trees, and treated every living creature with love and respect. The animals, in turn, helped her find a cozy little cottage, hidden away from the wicked queen's prying eyes. Unbeknownst to Snow White, the cottage belonged to 7 dwarfs who mined in the mountains. When they returned home and found Snow White asleep in their beds, they were surprised but moved by her innocence. Snow White woke up and, after overcoming their initial fear, they welcomed her with open arms. The dwarfs and Snow White formed a close bond, sharing stories, laughter, and simple joys. Snow White's presence brought light and happiness to the cottage, lifting the spirits of all who lived there. Back at the castle, the wicked queen's jealousy grew stronger. She discovered that Snow White was alive and living with the dwarfs. Determined to eliminate her rival, she concocted a potion that would put Snow White into a deep sleep from which she could never awaken. Disguised as an old peddler woman, the queen offered Snow White a poisoned apple. The princess, ever trusting and kind, took a bite and fell into a deep slumber. Heartbroken, the dwarfs built a glass coffin for Snow White and placed it in a meadow where she looked as if she were merely sleeping. Word of the beautiful maiden in the glass coffin spread throughout the land, and eventually, it reached the ears of a prince. He rode to the dwarf's cottage and, upon seeing Snow White, was captivated by her beauty and the peaceful expression on her face. Moved by her story, the prince leaned down and kissed her gently. True love's kiss had the power to break the queen's curse, and Snow White awoke from her slumber. The prince and Snow White's eyes met, and they knew they were meant to be together. Snow White bid farewell to the dwarfs, who had become like family to her, and returned to the castle with her prince. The wicked queen's spell was broken, and her envy turned to regret. Witnessing the power of Snow White's kindness and the love she had inspired, the queen's heart softened. She sought forgiveness from Snow White and the king, pledging to change her ways. And so, the kingdom rejoiced as Snow White's kind heart not only saved her own life but also brought about a change of heart in the wicked queen. From that day forward, Snow White ruled the kingdom with compassion and kindness, and her legacy of love and forgiveness continued for generations to come. Ariel and the Enchanted Ocean Adventure. Once upon a time, in a shimmering kingdom beneath the waves, lived a young mermaid named Ariel. She had flowing red hair, eyes as bright as the sea, and a heart filled with curiosity and dreams. Ariel loved exploring the underwater world, making friends with colorful fish, and listening to the stories of her wise father, King Triton. But unlike the other mermaids in the kingdom, Ariel had a fascination with the world above the waves. She often swam to the surface, where she watched seagulls flying and ships sailing in the distance. The world above seemed so magical and mysterious, and Ariel's heart longed to know more. One day, while exploring a shipwreck, Ariel discovered a collection of human treasures. Among them was a beautiful golden locket with a painting of a prince. As she gazed at the locket, she felt a connection to the world above like never before. She wanted to know more about humans and their world. Ariel's best friends, Flounder the fish and Sebastian the crab, were worried. "Ariel, you must be careful," cautioned Sebastian. "The world above is not like ours. It's full of dangers." But Ariel's curiosity couldn't be stopped. She decided to visit the sea witch, Ursula, who was known for her powerful magic. Ursula offered Ariel a deal: she could become human for 3 days in exchange for her beautiful voice. Ariel agreed, believing that with legs, she could explore the human world and maybe even find true love. With a magical spell, Ariel became a human and found herself on a beach, her tail transformed into legs. But there was a catch: Ariel had to make the prince fall in love with her within 3 days, or she would belong to Ursula forever. Ariel faced many challenges on land. She couldn't speak, and simple human tasks like walking and dancing were difficult. Yet, she didn't give up. She found companionship with a kind sailor named Eric, the prince from the locket. They spent time together, and Ariel showed Eric the wonders of her world by the sea. As the days passed, Ariel and Eric's bond grew stronger. But time was running out, and Ariel had to make a difficult choice. Should she stay with Eric and give up her life as a mermaid, or return to the ocean with her family and friends? On the 3rd day, Ursula appeared, ready to claim Ariel's voice and her soul. But Ariel's friends from the sea came to her rescue. Flounder and Sebastian, along with the sea creatures, created a whirlwind of bubbles that defeated Ursula and broke the enchantment. With Ursula defeated, Ariel made her choice. She knew where her heart truly belonged, both under the waves with her loved ones and on land with Eric. King Triton, moved by Ariel's bravery and love, used his magic to give her a human voice, allowing her to communicate with Eric and her new human friends. Ariel and Eric celebrated their love with a grand wedding by the sea. The kingdom beneath the waves and the world above joined together in harmony, reminding everyone that love, friendship, and understanding can overcome any differences. And so, the story of Ariel, the mermaid who dared to dream of 2 worlds, became a tale of courage, love, and the power of following one's heart. Children from all corners of the ocean and land would hear her story and learn that with determination and kindness, even the wildest dreams can come true. A tale of kindness and magic. In a kingdom far away, there lived a kind and gentle princess named Cinderella. She had golden hair that shone like sunlight and eyes that sparkled like stars. But despite her outer beauty, it was her inner beauty that truly set her apart. Cinderella's life wasn't always glamorous. After her mother passed away, her father remarried a woman with 2 daughters. Sadly, her stepmother and stepsisters were not as kind-hearted as she was. They treated Cinderella like a servant, making her do all the chores and never allowing her to join in their royal events. One day, the kingdom received an invitation to a grand royal ball at the palace. Cinderella's heart swelled with excitement, but her stepmother and stepsisters were unkind. They mocked her dreams of attending the ball, leaving her feeling heartbroken. As the day of the ball approached, Cinderella found solace in the company of the animals in the forest near her home. Birds, mice, and even the old cat, Gus, became her friends, and they helped her mend her old, worn dress into something beautiful. The night of the ball arrived, and while her stepmother and stepsisters left for the palace, Cinderella couldn't help but shed a tear. To her surprise, a kind and magical fairy appeared. With a wave of her wand, the fairy transformed Cinderella's rags into a magnificent gown, and her worn shoes into glass slippers that sparkled in the moonlight. But remember, the fairy said with a twinkle in her eye, you must return before the stroke of midnight, for the magic will wear off. Cinderella arrived at the ball, and all who saw her were captivated by her beauty and grace. Even her stepsisters didn't recognize her. As she danced with the prince, she felt as if she were floating on air, her worries forgotten for a moment. But as the clock struck midnight, Cinderella remembered the fairy's warning. She hurriedly left the palace, leaving behind one of her glass slippers. The prince, enchanted by her, found the slipper and vowed to find the owner of the delicate shoe. The next day, the kingdom was abuzz with excitement as the prince searched for the mysterious girl. When he arrived at Cinderella's home, her stepsisters tried to squeeze into the glass slipper, but it was too small for them. When it was Cinderella's turn, her foot slipped perfectly into the shoe. The prince knew he had found his true love. He took Cinderella to the palace, and they were married in a grand celebration that united the kingdom. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters, seeing her happiness, felt remorse for their past actions. With time, they changed their ways and became kinder people, learning the value of compassion and empathy. And so, the tale of Princess Cinderella spread far and wide, reminding everyone that kindness, grace, and a little touch of magic can turn even the hardest of circumstances into a happily ever after.